Hello flight simmers, welcome back, bienvenidos. Today we are on a very special flight. We are flying the beautiful Lufthansa 747-8 from Palma de Mallorca up to Frankfurt. I'm quite sure most of you guys have heard about it right now. So Lufthansa is doing some special flights for this summer. I think in total they are doing it on 4 days, so 4 Saturdays throughout the summer. They are flying a 747 from Frankfurt down to Palma and then back to Frankfurt, of course. And I myself, I was very lucky to actually be a passenger on one of those flights. That was not really planned, I have to say. So I was planning to fly back from Mallorca to Frankfurt on that particular Saturday. I was actually not aware that they are flying a 747 on this day as well. And then I saw, when I booked the flight, I saw that one of those flights is the 747. And then, of course, as being a bit of an aviation enthusiast, I decided to book the 747 flight, of course, and thus I had a pretty cool experience flying the 747 on this rather short flight. And the one I took, I was actually on a different airframe. So today we are on the Yankee Tango. I was flying on the Yankee Quebec, which is wearing the old Lufthansa colors. But they have been flying the retro livery on the 2 previous Saturdays, so that's why we choose it. And anyway, I couldn't find a decent livery of the Yankee Quebec, so we are on the Yankee Tango today. And also I recorded the departure and the arrival later on into Frankfurt on my phone. And during our departure today, I will actually try to put the video as a sort of overlay, and then we can maybe see how it compares to the sim world. Maybe that's something quite fun to see later on. Right, so yeah, people are getting into the plane. We are sitting here on gate 118 Bravo, which is also where they had the real aircraft, and you can see it's a pretty big parking spot here, and I think it's one of the few places, maybe it's even the only place where can they fit the aircraft of that size. Maybe these ones over here would work as well, but I think the parking spots at the terminal are actually too small for the 748. And yeah, so here we are. Weather here in Palma is quite beautiful, only very few clouds around. I think over at Frankfurt we will have this very similar weather, just not as warm as here, of course, but still quite nice. And so yeah, I believe GSX is busy loading the plane, so let's get into the flight deck, of course, and get going. Right, so here we are on the beautiful 747 flight deck. As always in Prepare, it's a bit dark. I don't know why, it's really bothering me. So yeah, although it's a really bright day outside, of course, but nevertheless it's a bit dark. But we can work with that. So I have loaded in the routing. Maybe we will start off with the charts today, and then we can work ourselves onto the performance calculation. So that's the airport of Palma. We are sitting about here in the corner, and we will be departing runway 24 right down here. So it's not too long of a taxi out. And then the departure route will be the Maros. I think it's the Bravo. No, it's the Alpha. Maros 3 Alpha departure. So you can see that's gonna be a runway heading, and then onto this waypoint, 7 miles from San Juan de Or. Slight left-hand turn, and we can also see this in the video recording which I did, and then a big left-hand turn onto the waypoints down here. Later on to Porto Colom, NDB, and then Menorca VOR, where I think also the real world flight got a shortcut somewhere here, so I think that's what most planes get on this departure route. Right, so that's what we are doing. Let's check the initial heading. Climb on radial 236. Okay. So we will simply use the runway heading then. Right, so departure 24 right, Maros 3 Alpha, like that. And yeah, routing is in there, and let's do the calculations. So we actually have to come back to the electronic flight bag performance Yeah, by the way, in terms of weight, of course, flying 747 on a like 1 hour 40-minute flight, we are pretty light, only having 27 tons of fuel on board, of which we are planning to burn around 15 tons. And in terms of passenger, I've talked to the purser on the flight, and he said first and business are of course fully booked, and that's of course people want to take the chance to get on the business class flight of a long-haul aircraft, of course. And then back in economy they had around 80 empty seats, so I think total capacity is around 360, and deducting 80 from this leaves us with 280 passengers, más or menos. So not fully booked, and we are pretty light. Also no cargo, of course, on these kinds of routes. So 2-4 right, conditions are dry. Now let's have a look at the weather. Okay, so we have winds 220 at 11, and that's a nice headwind for the departure. Outside air temperature 30 degrees. Yes, it is quite warm here. It's even 31. 1008 should be the altimeter. Then let's go takeoff 2. Let's see what it gets us. Optimum aircon is on, anti-ice is off, and then weight and balance. Read from aircraft, and yeah, that's a zero fuel at 249, so even like 50 tons of space in terms of zero fuel weight, and then of course very light for the takeoff. Complete, calculate. Okay, that's weird, that shouldn't happen here. Takeoff 2, let's go takeoff 1. Maybe it's because of the temperature. I mean, it's quite warm. Yeah, it is. Maybe it is. So flap 20, selected temperature 60 degrees, gives us a D rate 92.8 and 1. So that's 60 degrees on a takeoff 1. Like this, 60 degrees, takeoff 1, 29.8, 29.8. That's spot on. And then flap 20, which I believe is a Lufthansa standard anyway, but I think on this kind of lightweight also takeoff 10 would do. Now I was sitting in front of the wing, I couldn't see what flaps they did for takeoff. Maybe let's try flap 10. I think it's more economical on these kind of departures anyway, so let's go with this. I think that's more realistic. So that's 49, 94.4, that's that, takeoff, flap 10, and that's 131, 41, 55. Yeah, I could also enter the wind in here, and the temperature 31, and then, what was it, 220 at 11? 131, 141, 155. Sweet. Let's quickly close the doors. Otherwise it will get a bit annoying here. Okay, so 155 goes in here. And then runway heading and initial climb. So let's see on the charts. Airport chart, runway heading is 238, if I'm reading this correctly, 238, and initial climb 5,000. Okay, 238 and 5,000, like this, flight directors, LNAV, VNAV, beautiful. Okay, APU is running, of course, since it's very warm outside. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, by the way, we are flying offline today. Reason is I want to do the exact same routing as we had on the real world flight, and it's always a bit tricky when using ATC, so that's why we're flying offline. Arm all the doors, and then we can already get into the checklists. Let's turn this one off. Right, oxygen kept at site, tested 100%. flight instruments 271, and altimeters 1008, 1008. Park and brake coming on. Pre-flight checklist completed. Okay, let's finish up the flows. So this is all on. Then these go to aux. We have the fuel pumps. I believe the cross feeds will go off right away. We can check the fuel page. And yeah, so that's 6761 plus 0.7. So that's basically equal in all four for all four engines. That's why the cross feeds are off, and that's correct. And then we have, what else? Beacons come to both. Then of course the passenger signs, seatbelts going to on. And yes, I think that's the flows. So we will ask for the pushback, which I have pre-configured today. And then flight deck door closed and locked. MCP is set. We have V2.155, initial heading 238 and 5,000 for the initial altitude. Takeoff speeds 131, 141, 155. CD pre-flight is completed. Trim is free, centered, and 0 units. Beacons on. Right, let's see what kind of VOR we have in here. What we can do. Check the legs page. Oh, by the way, transition 6,000. And then the legs page. So yeah, that's the San Juan VOR 7 miles on track 236. Slightly offset from the heading, but that's okay. And yeah, that's all looking fine. Axoral above 5,000. That's gonna be very easy today. Right, legs page is looking good. Progress 12.5 on arrival. Alternate is Munich. Okay, I believe we are all set on here. And ready for pushback. Looking good. So what's the time now? It is, I'm always struggling to find it in here, 12:45. That's 14:45. The flight was a little bit late, and that was actually due to ATC clearance. So I think they were very cautious releasing the 747 from the blocks in Palma de Mallorca. So actually it took up a little bit of a delay, but it was a short flight also. Of course, flying a little bit faster compared to the usual Airbuses which are operating this route. Yeah, so we're gonna be facing east on Lima Foxtrot. Still have the wheel chocks. There's actions, ground connections, remove everything. Right, and off we go. Oops, just seeing I was almost running over this Ryanair. But now we are looking good. Yeah, so that's the pushback. Yeah, sort of a big turn, and then onto Lima Foxtrot, facing down here on Foxtrot. Right, and now we are good to fire up those engines, so let's do it. So starting number 3 and 4 with the auto start. Alright, so we have 4 good engine starts. Now let's put the hydraulic pumps to auto. Packs are coming on again. Right, and then we will, first of all, let's zoom in and see if we can get airport map. Beautiful. Okay, then we have flap 10 as calculated. This goes to RTO. We will have the flight control check. So full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral and the rudder, full left and full right. There it is. Trim should be, where is it, 5.1, so we need to trim it down a bit. Like this. And then we will finish the before taxi checklist. Anti-ice, we don't need that. Recall is checked, just TCAS, and that's fine. Flight controls are checked, ground equipment is clear. Before takeoff checklist, flaps are set position 10, that's also done. So we can get rid of this and turn off the taxi lights. Right, clear left side and clear right side. There's an Iberia taxiing out, that's okay, so we are good to go, I believe. Alright, looking good. Yeah, and so on the rearboard flight, when they taxied out, they even had to follow me up to the runway, which is, yeah, I don't really know if that's necessary, but it seems like they wanted to be extremely careful having this aircraft in Palma. And also it was quite special, since all along the way we could see sort of airport vehicles stopping all around, taking photos and all this kind of stuff. I mean, of course, it's quite special to have a 747 down in Palma de Mallorca, and also these kind of large 4-engine jets. I don't know if they will be around for much longer anyway, so they're unfortunately sort of dying out. But at the same time, we should say, or should notice, that back in the days it was very common to have 747s in Palma. There was Condor operating their 2 747s down here, and also I think Iberia itself was operating 747s to the holiday destinations such as Palma. So it used to be a very regular visitor down here. Alright, coming up to the runway, we will take the first one to the left, which is Hotel 2. And now let's do traffic, maybe terrain on my side, and then traffic weather on the first officer side. And zoom out a bit now. Now in theory they shouldn't be coming in to land on 24 right. They usually come on 24 left for landing. And I also can't see anything on the approach, so we should be good. Okay, so before takeoff checklist is completed already, so we will put on the landing lights, strobes, and then the TCAS, of course, TARA, tilt above. Right, so we are in a takeoff configuration. Yeah, there's one on the approach, but that's definitely 24 left. So all good, and the Iberia should be speeding up, I guess, somewhere down there.
Approaching 24 right. On runway 2.
Okay, finishing the line up, and then very soon we are good to rock and roll out of Palma. And then, as mentioned earlier, I will try to sort of edit the video I took on the flight on top. I hope it works out well. You will definitely probably see this when you're watching the video, of course. And right, so everything is set. We are good to go. So let's do it. Power to around 50% and 1. This will be a lot of D-rate today. Power established. Toga.
Airspeed alive.
Right, and there we are. Yeah, so a lot of D-rate, and we could also hear it during the flight, so engines were really not running at full power. V1. Rotate already.
Rotate.
Slow rotation. 7.5 knots, wait for the liftoff, which always takes a bit of time. And there it is. Gears coming up. Beautiful stuff. Right, so we can already feel it. That's very good climb performance we have here. Now thrust is coming back to climb power. On the real flight we actually could hear the engines powering up a little bit for climb power, which is quite common when derating a lot for the takeoff. But so real world calculations were a bit different compared to ours just now. Okay, let's put in the autopilot and then we can enjoy a bit of the views around. And that's already gonna be flap 5. Flaps 1. Right, and then on the real world flight, just when we came up to the first left-hand turn, flaps were retracting. Or was it the second even? I can't remember. But yeah, now here on this flight we seem to be a little bit earlier than that. We're coming up to the altitude constraint. Let's keep it climbing. And now I think we can head all the way for cruise level 380. Anyway, no ATC today. Right, so after takeoff checklist, all green. Perfect. And then the taxi lights are coming off. Yeah, climb performance now of course is crazy, around 4,000 feet per minute. And this is going to standard. And now into the big left-hand turn. Right, okay, very cool. Thank you guys very much for joining me on the departure out of Palma de Mallorca, and then flight time, as mentioned earlier, quite short, around 1 hour 40 minutes. And then we will hopefully have a nice landing into Frankfurt as well. So enjoy and see you later. So, welcome back everyone. We are already approaching 10,000 feet, nicely descending into Frankfurt. And yeah, just a second ago it has been a bit shaky, but now the turbulences have disappeared again. And yeah, as you can see, pretty nice weather over here at Frankfurt as well. Let's keep it descending for a bit. Maybe around 7,000. Right, let's quickly talk about the approach. So we are heading in runway 25 left, at least that's what we are planning initially, and we are flying the MKStudios Bravo arrival, which is coming in all the way to Spesa, which is also coming up soon. Spesa's over there, and then technically we would be on the left-hand turn onto the long transition, the Aerosoft transition, and then later swing around onto ILS 25 left. However, since right now it's not too busy, at least theoretically, now there's a bit of traffic coming in, we can also stay on the vectors and then sort of get or vector ourselves straight towards the final approach, and that should work out as well. Now we're below 10,000. Let's switch on some landing lights. Right, so what we will do is go heading select, and then flight level change I think is a good idea for now as well. Yeah, maybe that's gonna be too much descending. So we want to capture the ILS at 4,000 feet, so there's plenty of space from now on, and we're looking good on the approach. We can also go local, not quite yet, so locals is 1010. Transition altitude I've set I think 6,000. Right, and weather, let's have a look. It is nice, but it is windy, so we can see wind is 250 at 13 knots, which is quite a bit, and then temporarily we get gusting winds up to 25 knots, and that's quite noticeable. So these are some serious gusts, I guess. Let's go vertical speed. Now we are descending too fast. And what I've did, we will do flap 30 landing, but we will do, instead of 5 knots, we'll do 10 knots of wind correction. So final approach speed is going to be 149. And of course we are very light. Auto brake 2 will do. Now we're getting some ATC here. Can I switch this off in some way? It's a bit annoying. 224. 855 maybe. Oh, that's not working. Why? Right, let's hope there's no ATC on this frequency. Okay, so as we can see, there's plenty of space on the final approach. Let's get into a nice left-hand turn here. 330, and then let's make sure to descend as low as 4,000 feet. And then we can judge from the green arc when we'll get there. Maybe having a quick look at the final approach chart. So that's that, yeah, flight stop interception at 4,000. Pretty straightforward. And yeah, what the aircraft did in real life, and what we will also aim for today, is the visual onto 25 center. So the way it works, they are lining up for 25 left on the ILS, and then when there is no aircraft departing out of 25 center, they usually do this swing onto the other runway, and that's going to be fully visual. And that's always a very nice approach. And if we are lucky today and there's no traffic on 25 center, we can do it as well. Should be pretty cool. Right, yeah, let's keep heading left now. Heading 300. Right, and now we're gonna get down to 4,000 quite early. So we can even descend a little bit slower than that. Okay, we are coming on to the final approach now. That's the localizer, should be captured any second. Yeah, there it is, localizer. We had 220 knots, flaps 1, that's quite comfortable. 15 miles out now, altimeters is set to local 1010. And speed brakes we can already arm, we will not need them anymore. And let's go flaps 5 and slow down further as the glide slope is also coming in. So speed 180. And yeah, FPS are not too great at the moment, not quite sure what's going on here, that's a bit annoying. There's the downtown of Frankfurt coming into sight now. Very cool. Okay, speed 180, flap 5 config, which is okay for today since we are very light. Usually at this kind of speed we would be at a flap 10 at least. See insufficient fuel. That's interesting. Why did we burn so much? 9.4. I don't think we will need that much fuel to get there, but I might be mistaking. Oh, now there's ATC again. Sorry about this. Okay, go around altitude. I think it's 5,000. Yes, it's 5,000. In here, 10 miles out, flap 10. That's always the rule of thumb in a 747. 10 miles out, flap 10. Cool. And now, as discussed, if we are lucky, we can do the visual swing onto 25 center. Let's slow down further, maybe 170 will do. Still have a few miles to go, now 8.5. And we can enjoy a bit of the scene here at Frankfurt. And yeah, same procedure as down in Palma de Mallorca. I also recorded the landing into Frankfurt, and I will once again try to put the video in as well to get the reference to the real world flight. Hope it works. Okay, 6 miles out, let's drop the gear. Speed 160. And I think we are lucky today. So 25 center is free, so we can do the visual, and that's gonna be very fun. So first of all, autopilot off. I will leave the auto throttle in there for just a second. And flap 20. And then final approach speed we were discussing is 149 today. Like that. And then we can also turn off the flight directors and focus on the visual part. And flaps 4.
1,000.
Perfect timing, around 4 miles out. And we have 1 white, 3 reds, so we are just a touch low. And I really hope AI traffic is not doing something crazy and putting some aircraft onto the runway now. Okay, now let's also take the auto throttle. Like that. Do it the real Lufthansa way. No auto throttle for the landing. And there is some aircraft, but I think he's just crossing. Yeah, just crossing the runway, already clear, that's good. Landing lights are on, let's do a taxi we don't need yet. Landing checklist, all green, checklist completed. So let's hope for a good one. But it is a bit bumpy, we can feel it. I mean, 30 knots of wind, that's quite a bit. At least it's straight on the nose. Makes it a bit easier.
Approaching.
Very nice. 2 whites, 2 reds.
Minimums.
Speed is good. Altitude is good.
Light slow.
Disregard.
30. 20.
Retard. 20.
10.
10. A little bit floaty, but we are still descending, that's okay. And there we are, touchdown. Reverse. Cool, and decel. Manual braking, idle forward. And yeah, in Frankfurt, only idle reverse allowed. Unless we need it for safety reasons, but that's something always good to remember. Okay, that was a nice one. Felt like a pretty good landing. A little bit of a float there, but not too bad. Still within the limits easily. And so, welcome to Frankfurt, everyone. Very cool. Now let's do very quick clean up. Taxi lights are coming on, strobes are coming off. APU can wait another second. We will now take a right-hand turn, and we will set up the gate in a second. Meanwhile, flaps are coming back up. Auto brake goes off. Speed brakes are stowed. Yeah, now we landed with 10.3 tons, so the 9.4, what was it, 9.7, that was a bit off, some weird calculation. Yeah, I know. Okay, so gate today, let's have a quick look at the chart. Parking stance. We gotta be on the last one over here, which is Alpha 69, and now we are in Lima. We will go November 8, stay on November 8, and then Alpha 69. Hopefully it's free. '69. Checklist non-normal. Why would it give me a non-normal checklist? Auto throttle disconnect. Okay, apparently it really likes it to stay on, so that's good with me. Right, so gate's gonna be back there. In the meantime, firing up the APU. Oh, I left it on. No, not again. I think it happened to me on a recent flight as well. Forgot to switch off the APU, and that's of course not too good. That's making us burn quite a lot of fuel on top of what we would anyway burn. Well, that's not too nice, but at least we have a running APU now. Yeah, I don't know why I keep forgetting lately. But okay, never mind. Okay, that's November 8. Yeah, nice lineup of Lufthansa heavies today. A340, A330 I think. Yeah, let's switch off taxi lights. Oops, sorry, wrong one. There we are. And yeah, shall we trust the docking system today? Maybe we are lucky and it's configured correctly. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.6. Yes, I think that's looking okay. We can leave it like that. So, parking brake and killing engines. All of them like that. Very nice. So, beacons are coming off, fuel pumps are coming off, hydraulics are coming off, APU is running, and then we will ask for deboarding, jetways. Okay, that was a bit weird now. I accidentally killed the power to the aircraft, so for some reason APU was not running, although it's still on. But now we have external power anyway. Okay, a bit weird, but never mind. We are safely on the ground. This goes to off, and then we will open some doors. Disarm left 1 and 2, and then forward cargo, after cargo, like that. And transponder, of course. Stand by. Now traffic and weather VORs. And VORs, traffic, terrain is already off. Okay, shutdown, checklist, everything is done. We can release the parking brake. Cool. So, welcome again to Frankfurt, everyone. Hope you have enjoyed this short 747 flight from Palma de Mallorca up to Frankfurt. Very fancy that they indeed choose to operate this aircraft on that rather short routing. I think there are a couple of reasons to it. One will certainly be the licenses of the pilots, so giving the pilots to actually do a couple of takeoffs and landings and keep their license active. That's, I think, the main reason. In terms of capacity, of course, it always also makes a difference, but considering that there were just 280 passengers on board, that's yeah, that's not that much more compared to a nicely packed up A321. So I think capacity would certainly not be the main reason here for doing this flight, but nevertheless it also gave us the very cool chance to, well, first of all, fly on this aircraft in real world, and second of all, do this flight in the flight simulator. So thank you once again for joining. Hope you have enjoyed it, and hopefully see you next time as well. Take care, bye bye.